clear of the closing doors, please.
Hey, baby, let's go out there like a bunch of crazy dogs and have some fun. You gotta give us a shot. You know what? You gotta give us a shot.
What's up, guys? Here's CGF here on this wonderful Friday morning. Got a lot to talk about. We're going to do a quick game recap from the Giants' 23-21 victory over the New England Patriots yesterday night in Foxborough. The game was clinched when Graham Gano nailed a 24-yard field goal as time expired. A lot to talk about in regards to statistics. Daniel Jones finished 6 for 10 for 69 yards. I was pretty impressed with his limited amount of playing time. First drive was much better than the second drive. There was some issues with the offensive line, which we'll get into later. But pretty impressive first start for Jones. He seemed to be able to move the ball with ease. He should have had a touchdown if Kenny Golladay did not drop the ball. So that was a 15-play drive, which you want to see from your starting quarterback, and especially with all the maligned commentary that we've had this offseason about him being able to perhaps lead this team this season. It's a good start for him. So Tyrod Taylor also played well. He came in after Jones. He went 13 for 21 for 129 yards and a touchdown. And even third stringer Davis Webb played well, who the team drafted back in 2017. Going 8 for 16 for 51 yards. I was pretty impressed with the quarterback play last night. I felt like the Giants came out and were able to move the ball, and you want to see that. And it wasn't just Daniel Jones. Tyrod Taylor, even though in my mind he looked a little inaccurate at times, he was able to move the ball. And Davis Webb, which, you're not expecting him to have any major role on this team, but he was able to move well in the offense. So definitely, compared to the last couple of seasons where the team would stall on their initial drives, it was kind of good to see that the team was able to move the ball. Running the ball was very impressive to me. Antonio Williams had a very stellar game, ran the ball 9 times for 61 yards and a touchdown. It seemed like he was just being able to move, and you want to see that. You want to see your running back be able to gain yards, and he did really well. And then we had Gary Brightwell, our 6th-round pick from last season, who came out and played well. Something that we didn't really see much of last year. So he ran the ball 7 times for 40 yards. So that is very, very, for me, that's very encouraging. Even Saquon in his limited time, I think he had 5 carries, and he had like a reception. But, seeing Saquon involved early and being able to get on the field and play well, and the team overall offensively played really well last night. And then from the wide receivers, Colin Johnson had himself a game except for the fumble. I mean, Colin Johnson had 7 receptions for 82 yards, and even Richie James came in there, 3 receptions, 44 yards, and a touchdown. So last night, I think from a first preseason game against Bill Belichick, it's still Bill Belichick, regardless of what you see or what you think. It is Bill Belichick. They did pretty well. I think overall, I felt like the cohesion is there. It's going to take a little more time for, all the rough edges to be pushed out and rubbed out. But I think the team did pretty good last night offensively. Defensively, we had some issues. And the biggest issue is the CB2. And I know during the season, prior to the season, during our broadcast, we were talking about the Giants report. We were talking about how we had some concerns about depth. And we saw that last night. I really think at this point, Aaron Robinson is not slated to be the CB2. He had a horrible game last night. He got burned on a couple of plays. He had a taunting penalty in the end zone. He also, I think it was another pass interference in the end zone. I think he was holding on to the guy's jersey. Aaron Robinson, he needs to do much better than he's shown. So this team is probably in the market now for another cornerback, a veteran cornerback. I don't know where you go. I don't know if you're going down the route of someone who's a little more established. I don't want Janoris Jenkins back. You can forget about him. I want him back with the Giants. But obviously the Giants have some depth issues at cornerback, and I'm sure Joe Shane is going to address them. A couple other observations from last night. Darren Beavers and Micah McFadden played very well. Very encouraging to see because, the linebackers behind Blake Martinez. You want to see some depth there. You want to see some people can come on the field and play. Giants definitely talking about the offensive line. When Shane Lemieux went down, you could see it on the second drive. When Josh Ezeudu came in, there was definitely not that cohesion on the left side. And then also Andrew Thomas was out. So the Giants are going to need to keep their first stringers healthy. As of this time, I'm not exactly sure how bad the injury is. We'll find out more today about Shane Lemieux. But Ben Bredesen, I was watching him. He came in. He played okay. The Giants are going to need some of these backups to stand up and, contribute because they are really thin on the offensive line. I know our concerns about the cornerback position, but offensive line is definitely a concern there. Daniel Bellinger had a couple of nice catches, I think, and he also had a few good blocks. Something that we talked about last night on our pregame show was that we want to see Daniel Bellinger kind of rise up and take hold of that tight end one spot. I mean, so far, so good. Nothing crazy. Kayvon Thibodeau played last night. Didn't really flash. I predicted in the pregame show he'd get a strip sack fumble. That didn't happen, but he didn't do bad. So I want to see him in the next game maybe get a little more time in, which I'm sure he will, and maybe make a little more of an impact. I think he had a tackle last night if I look back at the statistics. Antonio Williams had a really good game. I talked about statistics earlier. I think Antonio Williams will be pushing for that RB2 spot towards the end of the season. I think Matt Breida, when he's in there, will be good. I think Saquon, with his injury history, we all hope he stays healthy. It's good to have some options at the running back position. Cordell Flott looked good. He got injured. He left the game. That goes back to us talking about cornerback depth. We need to do something about that. And then we have another 9 days, until the Giants return to MetLife Stadium to play the Cincinnati Bengals. I will be excited about that game because we'll probably see more starters and against the defending AFC champion. I think it will be a good test. So thank you all for listening. Please like, share, subscribe, turn your notifications on. Thank you all for listening. This was the Giants Report with a game recap. See you next time.